Good Monday evening, everyone, and welcome to Monday Night Safety Stop. JoJo, we're running a little late tonight.
Just a little sorry about that. Yeah.
All right, so let me just give you a little backstory here. So I'm sitting here at 7:50, and I'm like, all right, JoJo's getting ready to get on here, and I sit here and I'm watching. I take a couple phone calls. I'm watching. Joe hasn't logged in yet. Finally, I look down. It's like 10 after. I'm like, okay, he must be working or something. So I call him, and all I heard was, I'm going, I'm going. Oh, you had too much diving this weekend. I think that's what it was.
I tell you what, something, I need a vacation, I guess, from everything. Normally, I'm on by 7:30 with you, or
Yeah,
getting ready, or 8:30 my time.
yeah.
But yeah, so I'm usually the first one on and getting ready, getting my green screen ready, and I think the last 2 weeks in a row, I totally like missed it.
Oh goodness! You know what? It's getting that time of year. I actually was talking today. Today seemed like the mundiest Monday of the year because I mean it was drizzling, it's damp, it's cold. It's just like, do I have to get out and do anything today? And then I'm thinking, 2 weeks ago I was in Roatan having fun. Why can't I be back down there having fun? No.
I think fall is definitely sinking its teeth in now. We'll be looking at the holidays very, very shortly.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
But
But
on the other chord, we did have some nice weather Saturday.
we did. So as far as the Halloween fest, I think it was actually even more divers this year attended the Saturday. Of course, the weather was nice. You
It
know,
was.
the weather was beautiful. They were calling for cloudy skies, and we actually had sunny skies. The air was a little cool coming out, but that's to be expected. The end of October.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, while the sun was shining, I was fine. I can tell you though, when the sun went down, and you come out of the water, you can tell a difference.
Oh yeah. Well, and that was like with the evening dive or the night dive. Cowboy. If it hadn't been for Cowboys chili, it'd have been like it's a little cool, But we had the coffee flowing, hot chocolate flowing. Cowboys chili, which if you was in a dry suit for the night dive, probably didn't smell very good coming out of it, But hey, but no, it actually didn't start doing any kind of precipitation until about 9:30. Most of the night divers had already done the trail dive. We had already started breaking down some of the
Yeah.
topside decorations, and we were in the middle of Jaws in the outdoor movie. We were in the middle of it when it started to precipitate. And I ain't gonna say it rained. It was more of a sprinkle drizzle, and so yeah, it outdoor movie just it didn't make it through Jaws.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool though watching everybody enjoy Jaws cuddled up, their blankets and dive jackets.
Oh yeah, I mean
That's a good
it's
time.
I love it when they bring their screen down. Thanks to Louisville Dive Center, who brought their big outdoor inflatable screen. Um, that's that. Every time they bring it down, it's an awesome time because you can do your night dive if you're just want to hang out and watch the movie. Especially in the summertime when it's nice. It's not roasting in the evening time. You can actually sit out and enjoy it. But even at this, even here, October 25th, it wasn't bad. It was a little cool after the sun went down, but it was.
Yeah, I was comfortable. As long as I got out, got dry, I was comfortable. I was in my hoodie,
Oh yeah.
and then you got cold, you can always go over there to the smoker and warm up a hair.
Oh yeah. Well, that's one thing about it. Cowboy had the fire rolling over there at the smoker. So if you get chilly, just walk right over there, get you some chili, and warm up. But we do need to give a shout out to our other sponsors for the Halloween Fest. Again, it went off without a hitch. I think everybody had a awesome time with the zombie apocalypse diver. I mean, we had zombie divers here and there, and I don't know if they saved the doctor and found the cure. I never did hear.
I don't know. I did see a video though that Ohana posted
Okay.
on their experience, and it looked pretty cool.
Oh yeah. But yeah, Ohana was one of the sponsors for the zombie apocalypse diver, as well as the pumpkin carving. Water Dogs was the other sponsor for zombie apocalypse and pumpkin carving. And then, of course, we had Louisville, who enjoyed the festivities and tapped off the night with the outdoor movie in Jaws. So
Yes,
even though we only got halfway through it,
it
but
was still fun.
it was. Everybody had a blast. It was a good time. If you missed it, make plans to be there next year, because there was what, probably 40, 45 people who done the haunted trail.
Yeah, I mean, my group was 15 people by itself,
Yeah.
and one of the things I had some I seen it. Divers were just swimming around without their lights off because there was so many divers in the water.
Yeah.
Everybody didn't need lights.
Yeah, and of course, we posted. There was one of the dive masters from Louisville actually posted some photos of the decorations underwater. Of course, during the daytime, it's a little hard to get photos and video at night, but she ended up getting some good photos of some of the decorations. I think we reposted that. But the Halloween dive was, it's a sad event because it's the last one of the season. It's kind of that reminder, hey, the season's coming to a close, so let's have one more big hurrah for this year.
Oh
And
yeah,
huh?
yeah. I mean, that's it. It's the last. Ball's in the air. Winter's around the corner. So us dry suit divers will be the only ones in the water here shortly.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, and I don't think I don't intend this to be a pun, but over the next couple of weeks and the next few months, it's going to be a ghost town.
Oh,
But yeah, and of course, thank you, JoJo, because you always do an awesome job on the trail. If you guys don't know it, Joe actually sets up the underwater haunt. It usually takes him 2, 3, 4 weekends, depending on what all he's got to put in the water and all the dives that. So it's not something that just happens overnight. Joe works hard on it, and the event, the underwater trail, grows every year. I haven't seen anybody post selfies with the megalodon. Um,
no, right?
I know.
Perfect.
I guess I'll have to
Perfect.
start that trend.
That was a perfect photo op, and I've seen a lot of people doing it, but I have not seen any photos of it posted.
Well, I know once we finally figured out how to get the thing set up, and because so if you wasn't there, JoJo ended up buying this 7 foot megalodon for it's a yard decoration, and he was gonna sink it. I mean, it lit up. You were gonna sink it, and which would have been cool if you could have had a way to light it up.
Oh,
But
I have a way to do that.
yes, I know you would have it lit up, but it's like JoJo. It's its first year. It's brand new. Let's not dip it in the water just yet. Let's use it as a photo op. And like I said, I've seen several people getting photos, doing selfies and stuff with it, but I haven't seen them posted. Maybe I'm just not privy.
Got those selfies. Come on, post them. We want to see them. Tag us. We want to see all the photos of the day. I mean, photo classes are great during this time of year too. 'Cause there's a lot of cool stuff to practice.
Oh yeah.
Oh, great opportunity. Night dives, night classes, big photo classes.
Yeah, like I said, I think everyone enjoyed it. As far as we had night diver classes, there was a couple of them that had night students. Of course, the zombie apocalypse course. If you don't know about it's a fun, distinctive specialty you can do through Patty. But I call it a novelty course. It's not something that's required, but it's a good class because it includes underwater navigation. It includes some first aid, CPR. It includes underwater photography. So there's several different specialty skills that's actually included in that class. So one of these,
Had
huh?
metal detectors, search and recovery. They had metal detectors out there looking
Oh
for
yeah,
dirt.
yeah. And of course, that was the first thing somebody brought to my attention because we don't allow metal detectors at the park. Well, there's a reason for that, and they had approached me, say, hey, is it okay? This is part of the class. It's not that we're out looking for stuff. It's that part of the class. And I'm like, yeah, as long as it's class use, that's fine. But the issue with that part was we would have people come in with metal detectors and they was finding like dive knives and weights and stuff, and they were keeping them for themselves. They weren't turning it into lost and found, so that we had the opportunity to try to reunite someone's lost equipment to them. And
Yeah,
so, but yeah, I mean, they had special permission, so they were good.
which I did lose a dive light that night.
Well, that's not the first time I've been with you when you've lost a dive light, JoJo.
I know. I clip them off and I forget about them, and I come back up, they're gone.
Well, I'm sitting here watching the analytics here on, and I haven't. Nobody's chimed in tonight. It looks like we've got a couple of viewers, but chime in. Perfect opportunity to ask questions. Hey, what do you guys do in the off season? Classes, equipment. Christmas is around the corner, so Christmas ideas. What do you want for Christmas? What kind of new scuba toys? I hate to say it because Christmas will be here before we know it. It just, for some reason, it seems like the dive season just started, a month ago, and here we are at the end of it. So that's how fast time flies.
Well, I'll take some of those dive trips you got in your back pocket.
The dive trips in my back pocket.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Well, the
stuff
bad
them in
part
your
is I don't
pocket.
have a back pocket. So I don't know whose back pocket you've been looking at, but there ain't no dive trips in these pockets because there ain't
Uh,
none. Oh goodness, But yeah, I mean, I know what you're talking about, Joe. Of course, we've got Bon Air coming up here in about 4 months. So
I
don't
know.
4 or 5 months.
I'm ready for a break. That sounds
Oh yeah.
like a fun one.
Well, that's what happens when you change jobs. You got to kind of build up a little bit, and then you can take off and go. Whew, I'm done for a week. Oh goodness! Don't worry, I
Yeah.
aggravated Krista about it too, and she's probably watching. So.
Yeah, she switched jobs too. It didn't have any vacation. So
Oh goodness, but no, I mean, I think we've pretty much got the board set for next year for trips. We've been putting out the Bon Air trip, which is March 17th through the or March 7th through the 14th. Let me get my dates right. March 7th through the 14th, and then finally got Roatan nailed down. It hasn't been posted up yet, but this is the unofficial announcement. September 26th to October 3rd is the first week, and then the October 3rd through the 10th is the second week. So I've already had people say, hey, I'm doing both weeks. So you can do one week, do the other week, pick your week or do both weeks. The good news is the price is the same per week. So most places you're going to have prices increase. You know,
I
so
was looking at the calendar that far ahead too.
the
You
what?
can either pick the 24th for next year, or the 31st for next year
The
for
what?
the Halloween event. I was just pulling through the calendar, following those dates, and I'm looking. We can do our Halloween haunt next year on the 24th or the 31st.
Do it through
We
the
can have it
20.
on Halloween.
Oh yeah, you lost me there for a second. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, Roatan is kind of locked in already. We have 18 out of 20. Hold on. Yeah, 18 out of 26 rooms. So the hotel only, or the resort only has 26 rooms. We have 18 of them booked. So we should have plenty of room.
Hmm. And then back to Belize, spring of 2027.
Hmm.
So,
Well, I tell
yeah.
you, the good news about Roatan, in all the years that I've been there, when you go to Roatan, like at Turquoise, you dive mostly the north side. Now, if the conditions are rough on the north, they'll take you to the south side. So you still get to dive. It's not like, oh, well, we can't go out. You're missing your dive days. But the interesting fact about this one, or next year's trip, is that it's going to be a mix of north side and south side each week. They actually have another resort that's 5 minutes away from Turquoise on the south side. They are starting their dive operation in December. They've already started taking groups, already booking groups, so it's a done deal. And so they're going to be taking us over there, spend a couple of days of diving, but we'll still be staying at the hotel at Turquoise. So it's a win-win. Hammerheads are usually spotted up there. Not as many divers in that area, so I'm expecting the marine life to be wonderful. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of benefits next year that groups previously didn't get to do, and all done at no extra cost. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, to have Turquoise running another operation like that's going to be awesome.
Oh yeah, well we had looked at moving over to the resort over there, but it's such a big property. Now, when I say big property, I think they've got 140. I say rooms, but it's not like a hotel or a building that's got like 10 rooms in it. Every building either has one or two rooms. It's like bungalows. They've got like 140 rooms total. But from the dive shop, it takes 10 minutes to walk to the restaurant. So if that kind of gives you, we made the joke about, hey, let's buy a bunch of golf carts, send them down there. People can rent them for like, $200 for the week.
We're
You
going to
know,
start our own golf cart business.
yeah, yeah, and that way because their paths are big enough for them. It's just like, hey, I bet you would make a killing renting golf carts. So
Oh,
yeah, but yeah, seriously, I mean, we had looked at staying there, just moving from Turquoise over to Media Luna, but that was kind of the drawback of staying over there was the fact you had such a distance to walk between the dive shop. I mean, even if your room was right in the middle, in between, you still had to go from your room to the breakfast, which and then from breakfast to the dive shop, back to your room, when you were done. So just a lot of walking, and they proposed they're doing this with a couple of groups that's booked for January or December and January. Is they're staying at Turquoise, but busing them over to the south side to the resort to use the boat, the dive operation to go out on the south side.
that sounds like a good time.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. Again, like I said, we're doing 2 weeks again. We tried this last year, the 2 week deal, with two separate resorts. Week one was great. Everybody had a blast. Week two, the diving was great. The resort, questionable. Let's just say I'm not going back there. I would dive with the dive operator again, but I wouldn't stay.
Yeah, you run into that from time to time,
You
fortunately.
do. Yeah, you do, and that's the reason. That's what makes dive travel so hard, because there's tons of places to go to, and I'm not saying that there's a lot of bad places to get that you can go to, but there's places, and you can't always trust like TripAdvisor or any of them because most of the time, as divers, unless it's a place that strictly does diving, and let's face it, Caribbean, you're not going to have a place that just does strictly diving. They just host cater to divers. They room divers. You can't unless you're a diver, you can't stay there. There's no place like that in the Caribbean. And so when you start doing reviews, looking at seeing what people are saying about different resorts. Um, for example, I mean, the place we stayed last year, I won't name it, but if you know, you know, didn't have some of the best reviews, but it wasn't from divers. It was from people coming in on cruise ships, that weren't staying. They were just there, complaining about the food and complaining about this and that. And of course, going into this, you're kind of skeptical at this point. And well, you got to think about it. Most of the reviews that we read, they spent a day there. They come in on a cruise ship, they enjoyed the beach. They didn't stay a whole week at the property. And so, you kind of have to take the good with the bad. As divers, I need a bed to sleep in, a comfortable room, preferably, 70 degrees, a comfortable bed to sleep in because I'm only there in the room for what, 8 hours, 9 hours to get cleaned up, sleep, and then here we go again. So as a diver, I don't need 5-star accommodations, but I also don't need shower water coming from the light fixture from upstairs down into my bathroom either. So it didn't happen to me, but it did happen to someone on the trip. But yeah, so it's things like that. Um, that some things, some reviews you can trust, some you can't. I looked, when I go through and I look at new places, I'll look at some of the reviews and see, hey, did they say they dove? Were they just, was it a snorkeler? Somebody just on vacation? They're not diving. So that's kind of where I go to with it. Um,
Oh,
for
we ran into
example,
a lot of the
huh?
same issues. We ran into a lot of the same issues when we went to Key Largo.
Oh yeah.
The beach last time. And it wasn't
Oh,
with the resort. Actually, we loved the hotel we were at. It was finding a dive boat that we liked.
oh yeah. I mean, last time we were in the Keys, um, we were slated to dive with one dive operator all week long. And we kept
Every
getting the
day.
call the night before, hey, the boat's canceled. We're not going out. The boat's, this happened all week. After the first day, we started going out looking for, hey, how are we going to dive? We're here to dive. And, understandably so, most of the operators weren't going out because they had 2-3 foot swells. Which if you're not comfortable, you're not going to have a lot of people. There's safety aspects that come up with when you've got, I say, rough seas. 2-3 foot swells. You don't. That doesn't sound like a lot until you're on a boat trying to get up out of the water. Getting in the water is not that huge of a deal. Just have to watch the swim deck, make sure it doesn't tap you on the top of the head. But likewise, trying to get back on the boat. So I see from the safety aspect of it. But luckily, we were able to find a couple of operators. One operator, we was able to get on the boat, go out and dive all day, pretty much. I think was it 3 dives we done with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we done 3 dives with them, and then they
One of
told
them
us,
was a nice one too. It was a nice phone with some nurse sharks.
"Oh yeah, man, that first dive we made with them, it was just kind of boring. It's like, oh my god, there is nothing here.
Uh-huh.
You're not seeing a lot of coral. You're not seeing. I mean, there's coral, but it's just like, wow, okay. But that second dive we made with them made up for the first dive because, I mean, as soon as we jumped in the water, there was probably, what, 15, 20 nurse sharks?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean it was
boom,
jam packed
right there.
for sharks,
Yeah.
and then two friendly morays just swimming back and forth too to top it off. So
Oh, yeah. That probably was my favorite trip of favorite dive of that whole trip. Uh, Now, I'm not going into reviewing that trip because that's been what 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
yeah, but again, we've had issues with providers with that one.
Oh yeah.
It,
Well, one of the most notorious ones now. Everybody's familiar with the Oriskany. So last time I was on the Oriskany was 3 months after they sank it in 2006. And of course, back then, the flight deck was right at 130 feet, so maximum recreational limit. You could drop down, hit the flight deck, and come back up the con tower, which was a great dive because you hit their deepest point there on the flight deck, and then you start, your way back up until you get to the top of the con tower, and then you go up the line, do your safety stop, get on the boat. So, but since then, I mean, with the weather and the conditions, I've known people who have been down there 3, 4, 5 times to dive it, and they still haven't dove that wreck. Granted, now the flight deck's like at 145, so it's deeper, it's settled. And then the top of the con tower, which used to be like right at 60, is now like 80 feet. So, it does draw. You have to go by how the conditions are going. If the boats aren't going out, there's not a lot you can do. Not unless you want to swim out 20 miles.
no, same thing when we went to North Carolina.
Yep.
Once the weather was great, we had a great time. Another time we literally stepped on the boat. They told us to get back off. So,
Yeah, we're here to dive, or we're here, here for a great diving experience. Well, we're not going out today. I don't know if it's me, but I still haven't seen anybody chime in. So if you're in watching, hello, welcome to the channel.
I'm showing 4 people on, but
Oh yeah, so
that's probably me. And
me and you and I don't know who else is in here, but hello. Usually we'll see like Emily and Michael chime in, Frank.
they're probably wore out like I was. Just forgot it was Monday.
Hey, I understand completely, but anyway, I don't know if you was watching the show last week, and I wanted to bring this up tonight because there has been some new details. I think you've seen it, didn't you, JoJo? On our topic last week.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's been some updates. It's like wow.
so if you've been following this story, it's out of Texas, where the 12-year-old young lady tragically passed away while in an open water class. This was back in August. We heard about it. What was it? 2 weeks ago. And so last Monday we kind of talked about stuff that had been going on with the investigation, and how it's kind of went viral, and all of that. This past week, between last Monday and tonight, there was another update that was kind of shocking, really. Did you see the video, Joe?
Yeah, I watched the video.
Yeah.
It was like wow.
Well, just when you don't think, it's bad enough that, someone lost their life in an open water class, but it's even worse because it was a 12-year-old young lady. It was a kid. It's bad enough somebody lost their life, but it was a kid. Makes it even worse. And whenever, this story first come out, it was looked kind of bad. The family was not getting answers. And come to find out, just do a little recap, real quick recap for you. They hadn't downloaded computers. They hadn't, basically the investigation had just kind of stalled out from the way the articles and everything read.
Where was the missing gear at?
Yeah,
All that.
there was a dive master or dive professional's computer missing. They hadn't downloaded any information. We talked about the importance of how dive computers are the little black boxes of scuba. You know, so it's very important information when something happens like that, whether it's a fatality or not. It's still important information to have, especially if you're having to go to a hyperbaric chamber. They need that information. So, in this situation, the investigators, in my book, I'm not saying, because we're never going to know the whole story, the whole facts. But from what's been put out and what information is available, you know, there's not really been anything done with the dive computer to try to find out what happened. And as a parent, I would definitely want to know what happened. So I can
Well,
definitely understand the frustrations on the family side. But
well, some of that light has been pushed forward by the gentleman that found her now. So
well, yes. And so, the original story broke. A couple of days later, that story come out, and he done an interview about it, and that come out, and it's bad enough, when it first broke, and then this guy comes out who actually did the recovery, and his story, which was, kind of nerve wracking too, with what he observed and how things went down. And then just this past week, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, a former instructor who worked for this dive shop, actually recorded a staff meeting back in 2017 when they had a staff meeting, and the comments that were made on this recording of the dive shop owner was mind blowing.
yeah,
If you haven't seen it, which, if you're a diver and you haven't come across it yet, it's just, to me, it was just something like my jaw dropped. Um,
to talk about this like they're just something that happens every day. That's sickening,
well,
especially when we can really control a lot of the factors that happen.
in an open water class, things like that shouldn't happen, though.
I know visibility was. I mean, they stated visibility was like what 3 feet.
3 feet, yeah, yeah. I'm not
Yeah,
putting a student in 3 feet of his. Now, if I've got one student and I can, hold them close and I can see them do skills, that's one thing. I'm not taking 8 students down where I can't see all 8 students simultaneously.
yeah. You got to keep track of all of your student, what they're doing. You got to be able to judge what skills they're doing. Yeah, they got to be able to see you demonstrate those skills.
Exactly.
And there's a lot going on, and to not be able to see them is
Oh, yeah.
mind blowing.
Well, and again, from an outsider's perspective looking in, I've never dove at this scuba park. I'm sure they run a great operation. It wasn't anything on their part. This was, they didn't employ the instructor. It wasn't a class through their scuba park. It was a scuba shop. And that video, it really, like I said, it made my jaw drop, because the dive shop owner name dropped the insurance carrier. Now, I'm not gonna, you can go back and watch the video, look it up, and watch it for yourself. But the gentleman that was name dropped, I know him personally, and I've known him for several years. He used to be our insurance agent years ago. Um, you know what he said, that the insurance company told him that it was okay to kill 1 or 2 people a year, they would be fine, they would settle out of court. My jaw just hit the floor when I heard that. And this is on
Some big
video.
deal. We're there's a couple. What?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. My jaw hit the floor. And I'm like, there is no possible way. I know this gentleman. He would have never in a million years said that. I know him personally. I know, I've known him for years. I know what kind of guy he is. I know how safety oriented he is. He loves scuba. He would have never in a million years said that. If he did, I would be completely shocked.
Oh, I wouldn't imagine if he is their insurance company that he just like we're dropping them right now.
Yeah.
You can't
Well,
get insurance to us.
so he had done. This gentleman had done scuba insurance for years. He ended up selling the business to retire. And so he done that in 2018 or 2019. I can't remember which year, but he did retire. But he had been doing it for, 40 years. So, I mean, he was doing insurance when we started back in 1994. And, that's where I got to know him because he was originally based out of Nashville. So, and that's all he dealt with was scuba insurance. And again, we had him as an insurance carrier. I have never, ever heard him say anything like what this guy said that he told him. Never. We've even had a couple of his former employees from the insurance company get certified with us. And, again, like it's that personal connection that it made my jaw drop when I heard that. And I'm like, oh no. Oh, this is going to get deep.
And they, I'd be remarkable if they even have insurance to that company anymore, let alone anybody else pick them up.
Yeah.
But
Well,
they might as well just sell it and be done with it. They
yeah.
just screwed the pooch right there.
Well, and
So,
again, we have found out which training agency it was. Not going to mention that, but it was really shocking on that video and that report to find out that this instructor, this former instructor with that dive shop, had actually sent it into the training agency because it was a concern. Yeah, it was a concern, uh, obviously, but apparently the training agency decided not that it wasn't actionable, so they did nothing with it. Now, that was in 2017. Here we are, 8 years later, 7 years, yeah, 8 years later, and now this is coming to light. I got a feeling this dive shop is on its way out the door.
yeah. And then here we go again with no oversight from from the big dogs, pretty much.
Well, I can't say anything about the oversight thing. If you look at the big picture, training agencies produce training materials for instructors to be able to teach. They sell books. They write out how or they make the standards that instructors are supposed to teach by. Now, there are a ton of instructors, every agency that teach by the standard, teach the way they're supposed to. They have they're very good instructors. They do everything they're supposed to. That way that people can enjoy the underwater world. I had a great instructor. He was passionate about diving, and he actually helped do the very first dive at the park when we were evaluating, checking it out. And but there's always one out there that is doing it just for the money, and they're doing just they're doing all they can to collect that money, selling C cards, basically. You're selling certification cards. We don't sell certification cards in scuba. You can't do that. That is a huge safety. If something happens, it's like I learned years ago when I went through instructor class. If you're not comfortable putting your name on someone's certification card, why do you pass them?
Yeah. You're not paying for the certification, bro. You're paying to somebody to put their time and their effort into diving safely.
Teaching you to do it the right way.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. you know, and again, it doesn't matter what agency, every agency has, you know, instructors who do the bare minimum, whether they're independent or they're working for a shop. Luckily, if they're working for a shop, there is some kind of oversight. Hopefully, there's someone who does quality control. SSI, it's mandatory. I mean, we don't have an option.
well, I mean, I've seen it. You bring an instructor in. They have like three different evaluations just from on-site staff. Huh. I know you evaluate and Brian evaluates different classes before you even let them have reign of their own class.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
How big
mean,
of a deal
with us, if an instructor, if a person goes through the instructor training course, they pass the course. Of course, they have to go through the evaluation with the training agency. But they don't just get turned loose once they get their instructor ticket. We don't just okay. Well, here's your first class. Merry Christmas. We don't do that. We provide that mentorship time, where they'll co-teach with a couple of different instructors and basically get evaluated by senior instructors to make sure they're guided in the right direction. They're not picking up bad habits. They haven't picked up bad habits. So it gives them that internship time per se, which a lot of people do that. A lot of shops will do that, and which is great because you help make sure the end goal is to make your students into divers, responsible divers. And you can't sell just C cards. Oh, you want to get certified? Here you go. It's $600-700. Okay, you take them to the pool once, you take them in open water once. Boom, here you go. That's selling a C card. Now, I personally don't know anybody who does that, but obviously, it happens. I don't know what was going on in this case. It wasn't there, but standards are important. That's the reason they're there, to make sure student safety. And to me personally, I don't know this agency standards because I don't teach it, but being an instructor for an RSTC agency, which this other agency is an RSTC member, or I'm pretty sure they are, um, the standards from the RSTC are the minimum set of standards, and you have to follow the minimum set. Now, Patty has standards which they can't drop below RSTC. SSI standards can't drop below RSTC. SDI, TDI, NAUI, all the training agencies that are members of the World Recreational Training, Scuba Training Council, have to adhere to that minimum set of standards. So, if they're a member, this is the basic set right here. You can't do this, you can't do that. Here you go. The agencies have the option to build on top of that. Like SSI, for example, the RSTC says we can't come up to the surface any faster than 60 feet per minute. SSI took it a step further. We can't come up any faster than 30 feet per minute. So you're coming up half the speed. What does that help do? That helps gives you a little bit longer time to off gas to help minimize the risk of DCS. So, adding to these safety standards to increase safety is, perfectly acceptable. but you can't take anything away from them. Like, I couldn't go and teach a class and say, all right, well, we can come up 100 foot a minute. No, that's against standards. So basically, 60 foot per minute coming up is your ascent rate standard. That's what the RSTC says. SSI or whatever training agency you are training through, they will say it's 60 foot, it's 30 foot, but they will never say it's faster than 60 foot a minute because they can't.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my little rant. It's all about fun. It's all about enjoying the underwater world and doing it safely so that you can continue to enjoy it. You've been doing it for not as long as I have, but you know, that's the reason that I have enjoyed 34 years of diving is because I adhere to the standards. I adhere to safety. I'm not going to do anything crazy, and I'm not going to do that to a student, and subject them to put themselves in danger when they get out of class. I'm not doing it. So, safety standards are there for a reason. And like I said, in this situation, we don't know everything that happened. I seen the thing, there's a 12-year-old student in this class. There's actually two of them, but they were within standards because they had one instructor, one dive master, and 8 students. Uh, that could be debatable. I mean, it really could.
Yeah.
Two 12-year-olds in the same open water class, I wouldn't do it. You know,
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, how was it in the pool sessions? Was it controllable in the pool sessions? Was
yeah.
there a lot of people comfortable? Was there a lot of people not comfortable? Should we break it up into smaller groups, even though we are in standards, just because there's some doubt,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
extra time with other people?
it's like we said last week on the show. As an instructor, if the conditions, or even let me say dive professional, because it may not be a class, you may be leading divers. As a dive professional, you have to make the judgment on conditions. If you're in the ocean and there's 6 foot swells, and you have to make the judgment call, do I put these people in this water or do I cancel it because it's a safety aspect? It's a safety reason. Me personally, if it's something like that, I'm calling it because I'm not going to subject people to have to fight these rough, extenuating conditions if I'm not comfortable putting them in the water. And in this case here, visibility 2, 3, maybe 4 foot at best. You know, I'm not taking 8 students in the water. I may take one at a time. Yeah, it means a heck of a lot of work for me. I'm going to have to make 8 dives or 16 dives in a day, basically, which is almost impossible. But I'm going to have to do this on either a one-on-one or one-on-two basis because you can't see them. You can't control 8 people with 4 foot visibility. I mean, you'd have to be all hugged up together just to see everybody, let alone, evaluate their skill set.
I mean, I just led 15 people on a night dive in 10 feet of visibility in the dark. Yeah, my nerves were a little rattled. We don't do that very often in our park.
No, we don't. But, you also had other things in play too. The trail was
Yeah,
lit so
yeah.
people could see which way, where they needed to go.
I
You
had
all,
I had the course lined out.
yep.
I ran the course. I set it up, but I also ran the course again before we even did the night
Oh yeah,
dive,
most
just
of,
to make
and
sure
you
I
wasn't,
had.
I was gonna say, and you wasn't the only dive
No,
professional in the
I was
water.
not. So
There
I had
was,
one group of this, and then I even heard a water dogs joined us, which was awesome. But they had for every people they had, they also had their own dive master for every 3 or 4 people
mm-hmm.
within. So I could trust that as I'm going down the line, that there is at least a professional keeping an eye out, even though I couldn't see him. There was somebody there with.
Oh yeah, you've got multiple people, multiple dive professionals. But again, you're talking the difference between 10 and 15 foot of visibility versus 2 to 4 foot
Yeah.
visibility. You know,
Um, and I got around the RV. One of the things we did was go a loop around the RV. Um, 15 people, that's a long line. I
yeah.
actually had to stop at the RV and kind of wait for the back to catch up to us, or we'd all be entangled together and nobody would know which direction we're going.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, you have to approach if it's an event like that or if it's a class, you have to approach it from a safety aspect. Make sure everything's good to go. Had, like for Saturday. If you remember, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, Women's Dive Day. We had that monsoon that hit the night before. Visibility was 30, 40 foot before the monsoon hit.
yeah, yeah,
And
right
then
before that Friday, you could see
that
it was
Friday it was
all.
beautiful, and then that night, that afternoon, that evening, I mean, we just got unloaded on. Visibility went from 30 to 40 foot down to like 2 foot. I mean, it was just like, oh my gosh. But and in that aspect, it made the treasure hunt interesting.
Yeah,
You know,
you really
but
had to look.
yeah, but you're also talking the 20 to 25 foot shelf direct ascent to the surface. So, if someone got lost or uncomfortable, they could come up, boom, you know exactly where they're at. But it's not a lead trip. It's not something where you have dive masters that are leading these divers around. It's a fun dive. They go out and dive on their own, just like when we go to Bonaire, we're going to be doing shore dives. We're not going to have people from Bonaire with us, dive masters. We're going to go out. We're going to dive the reefs. We're going to do our briefing because we've been there before. This is the way we're going to go. If the current kicks up, we're going to turn around. Whatnot. But we have to base it on the conditions.
And the conditions change in Bon Air too.
Yeah.
So that firsthand.
We learned that the hard way, and that was on the house reef of the resort
Yeah.
we were staying at. And it's not. The funny part about it was, if there was no current, we could have made that whole dive in about 45 minutes.
Mhm.
But the problem was the current kicked up in the middle of the dive, and we were trying to fight just like you're supposed to do. You dive into the current, and then on your way back, you let the current take you back. After about 45 minutes, we hadn't reached the wreck that we were going to. It's like, all right, guys, we got to go. We got to turn around,
And
and
we didn't also have far to go back.
yeah, no, I mean literally. What took us 45 minutes to get to in the first place took us 5 minutes just with the current to get back to the dock. Yeah, I mean, and,
So,
and it didn't start out that way. That's the
no.
interesting part. But
Yeah, we
any
probably made it halfway before it kicked up and we realized we weren't going anywhere.
yeah. So, that's the importance of, you know, being knowledgeable, and safety aspect. Current kicked up, we weren't getting where we were going. All right, let's turn around, let's head back. Everybody, it was a good dive. Don't get me wrong. It was a night dive too, uh, which made it even more interesting because everywhere the light shined, here comes the terrapin, nailing fish because they're using us to hunt. And so, yeah. But all in all, again, safety is top priority or should be top priority for any dive operator. Recapping, this whole incident, that happened in Texas has been, just shocking to me. That the way things have been handled, and this new information that keeps coming out, just makes you scratch your head and wonder, what are these people thinking? What was this an actual one of those buy a certification? What happened? You know, and of course, with the litigation, all of this stuff going on, we're not going to know until everything's settled, and we may not even know then.
Maybe not.
But it is, it is at this point. It has thrown so many red flags in my book. That's like, what what were these people thinking?
Apparently, just get it done, but who knows?
Yeah, exactly. All right, JoJo. Well, I know we got a little late start today, but we're finishing a little late, so I guess we're making up that time. But anyway, yeah, it is about 10 minutes after 9 my time, 10 after 10 JoJo's time.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm showing 57 minutes live right
okay,
now.
yeah. Well, it's a good stopping point. I did see that Randy Servideo piped in here. Thanks, Randy, for letting us know that you was here. Again, if you haven't done it, subscribe to the channel so that you know when we come on. You'll get the alert. You can always go back and watch these, even if we're not live. I don't know if it'll let you comment. It should. If it does, then it'll pop up and let me know, and I can comment back, or if you have questions or whatnot. Uh, Only got 2 weeks left. 2 weekends coming up. This weekend, this coming weekend, and then the final weekend of the season, November 8th and 9th. And then it's time to start planning for 2026.
Hey, looking forward to it. We got a lot to do this winter.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But can't wait for you guys to see what we have in store for 2026. Lots of interesting things behind the scenes that you guys may not see, but hopefully we'll have some you know uh, forward facing projects that you guys will see in 2026. But we're excited about all of it, and I can't wait. JoJo, do you have any final thoughts for us for tonight?
And prayers and thoughts go out to the family that lost their beloved daughter. I hope they can find closure and answers. We can learn a little bit along the way too, because we don't want this stuff to keep happening. But yeah, other than that, we had a great weekend, and bittersweet. But I had to start planning for the next one now.
And the bad part though, JoJo, is the winter will go by so fast, and then we're gonna be like, we didn't get everything done. Why didn't we get everything done? We had 4 months. No, hopefully not. Won't be that way, but
I feel that way every year.
well, it's always like you're a cat trying to chase your own tail. You can never really catch it.
It's like we plan on doing a lot, and we do some of it, but we never quite get.
Well, we do what we can, and that's all that we can do, right?
Yeah, that's it. We'll be back to enjoy it all again next year.
Oh yeah. All right. So I know I've had a few people ask, and I'm going to throw this out there here real quick. The pre-sale for the 2026 season passes will be, as always, Black Friday. We will put, I think it's 15. Is it 15 or 20? I think it's 15. I think we do 30 season passes a year. So we upped that last year from 20 to 30. So 15 season passes will be available in person. So the park will be open on Black Friday and Small Business Saturday. So come out and enjoy some cooler water with your dry suits or 7 meals. Pick up your season pass. That'll be your first opportunity for the pre-sale for 2026. And then, of course, if you're not on our email list, get on it, because the general sale for season passes, whether it's 15 or if we don't sell out Black Friday, the remaining will be placed in the general sale in January. Uh, There'll be a discount code that goes out in January by our email list. It is the only way that discount code goes out. So if you're not on the email list, you won't get that code. You'll pay full price for the season pass. The Black Friday sale is already discounted. So I've had several people asking me about that. So I wanted to throw that out there, because Black Friday will be here before you know it. Small Business Saturday. So we'll have 15 of them available for that Friday and Saturday, Black Friday and Small Business Saturday. And again, we'll be open for diving. So if you're not out Black Friday Christmas shopping, and you have family members that are, you want something to do, come out and make a dive. We'll have the warming station up and running, have coffee, cocoa, ways for you to keep warm. So I think we had the warming container set on 75 this weekend. I've seen several people using it.
I bet they were using it.
I did have one complaint about it though. I wish people would shut the door when they leave. Oh, well, I mean, it's like I told them, I used to always hear growing up that, if I went outside or I come in, I left the door open. Shut that door. You weren't born in a barn. I'm not heating the world. But, all right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for us for this Monday night. Thank you for tuning in with us each and every Monday night that we're here. We will have our yearly Christmas break coming up. I think that is... Jojo, do you know when our Christmas break? It's usually the last 2 weeks of December.
I'm gonna say December 20th. No, sorry,
22nd.
22nd. Yeah, I was getting there.
Yeah, December.
One day at a time.
Oh yeah.
22nd.
Yeah. So we'll have our winter break. December 22nd will be the last episode for 2025. And then we will be off the 29th, but we'll be back on the 5th. So that's in December. So we still got a little bit of time to spend together and, keep talking about scuba. But yeah. All right. I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up now since we're already pushing the hour mark. And but anyway, again, 2 weeks left, 2 weekends left. This weekend is coming up. Next weekend. Also want to throw it out. If you bought tickets in 2025 and you have not used them, if you do not email us and let us know, hey, I've got these tickets, I wasn't able to make it down, then we can't do anything with them once the year closes. So December 31st of 25, if you've got tickets, we haven't heard from you, we can't roll those over. So if you want to try to get them rolled over, this is the opportunity to do it. Let us know. Shoot us an email, info@pennyroyalscuba.com. Put the ticket number on there so that we can pull that and get that transferred into the 2026 season. If you don't do it, there's nothing we can do because after December 31st, the system rolls over the year and then it invalidates all outstanding tickets. So I'm giving you a couple of months head notice. So
Randall's asking, does this apply to the air tickets as well?
The air tickets?
Yeah, you probably bought air fills this year.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, and I see Kevin Williams chimed in here too. Says, as a parent of 2 young divers, this hits close to home. Initially, a bunch of red flags, but that video is unacceptable. I am 1,000% in agreement. Very unacceptable. The air tickets, if it's like from the ticket system, yes, that way we can credit it to your account in the park system, so that you don't have to worry about losing those. If it is already in the park system and not the ticket system, then you're okay. I've had some people to, hey, I don't have these, or I'm not going to be there. We're able to credit that in the system. So when they come in next year, it's going to pop up, hey, we owe you, 2 air fills, 2 nitrox. We owe you a day admission. So we're able to correct, make sure that rolls over for you. As far as Kevin, again, I agree with you 1,000%. There is no way that in any alternate reality I can even see that remotely being acceptable. I mean, it is just totally 100% not. So,
Yeah, it ain't right at all.
No.
My 12-year-old just got certified a year ago. It tear me up as a parent, not alone as a diver as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm afraid I'm afraid that there's going to be even more come out. I just I have that feeling that we're, as this goes on, we're going to learn more that's going to even be more gut wrenching. And I'm trying to brace for it because as a dive professional, again, this whole situation has just, it's I don't know how it got there. I have no idea. But it should have never went in that direction. But
Yeah, Randall, if you just want to shoot us an email
oh,
with it, we can
okay, yeah. He said
register.
air cards. So yeah, that does not apply to air cards. Those are already in the system. You will
Yeah,
not lose those. These are for the tickets from the website. If you purchase an admission, if you purchased airfields from the airfield tickets, not the packages, not it's specifically for tickets. So we don't have after December 31st, we can't roll those tickets over. It starts new and it won't let us. So if we know about it before December 31st, then we can put it in the system, in the park system that says, hey, this has been validated, ticket number, we owe you this. And then that way, when you check in, we pull your name up, boom. Here, it shows us that, yeah, we had to give you an airfield or admission, whatever your ticket you bought, we'll honor it. So the air cards, gate passes, things like that, it does not affect. So just the tickets if you bought the tickets off the website. All right. So
right.
all right. Hopefully we've got that squared away. If anybody has any questions on the whole ticket thing, shoot me an email, shoot me a message. You can send it info@pennyroyalscuba.com. We're going to continue to follow the story out of Texas. It's a very sad, tragic event that, in my book, it has taken way too long for them to bring out. Um, you know, Nobody had heard about this until 2 weeks ago. This happened in August, which is the first red flag, unacceptable in my book. And then just in the last 2 weeks, everything that's come out about this. So we're going to continue to follow this and not critiquing, but keeping divers informed if you haven't seen it. Because if you're not aware, you don't know what's going on, especially for those who are interested in getting certified and trying to find a good, reputable place. I'm not selling point here, because there's a lot of great shops that I recommend to people if they're not in our area, that I know they're going to be in good hands with. And so, so don't let any of that discourage you. If you've been looking into getting certified, I'm always here to help. JoJo, all of our staff, if you have questions or whatnot, for anyone who's not certified. If you don't live in the Hopkinsville, Madisonville area and you're interested in getting certified, just let us know where you're at. We can get you in contact with a dive shop in your area, and you can take it from there. But we're always here to help, whether it's on certifications, on equipment, training, all of that. So anyway, it is 9:22, and I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
All right, Chris.
But
Have a good week, and it was,
all right.
I had a fun weekend.
All right, JoJo. Well, as always, if you guys are diving this weekend, we hope you have a fun, safe, and adventurous diving weekend. If you're diving with us, we can't wait to see you. But if you're diving in nice, warm, tropical waters, we don't blame you. So just know that. All right, guys. Until next Monday night, it's been a blast. Like and follow the channel. And we'll see you guys right back here next Monday night, right here on the I was fixing to say our Facebook group, but we're not on Facebook anymore. We're on YouTube. So, hey, it's the Mondayest Monday ever, let me tell you. All right, guys, we'll catch you all here next Monday night, right here on our YouTube channel, Monday Night Safety Stop.